Hello everyone. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to the face and the card making space and a couple more holiday cards for my 2024 holiday card series. I'll have that series linked, the playlist for it, in the end screen at the end of the video, and you can check it out if you are interested. I'm going to make a couple cards using some more of the newer Picket Studios September release. I did heat embossing and a little bit of ink blending, some stenciling, a couple types of splatter. The easiest watercolor in the world, literally. Anyone can do it. It's just like filling in a couple little ornaments. Super simple. So, as always, I'll have links to all the things in the description box below the video. Just expand it. Everything will be listed and linked for your convenience. And my links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It is what helps pay the bills and keeps the channel going. That's all for the chatter and housekeeping. Let's get into making the cards. So I am using the Picket Studios A Christmas Hello stamp set. And the first thing I'm going to do is I took some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, one of my go-tos, and I have just an A2 size panel, and I've got it in my MISTI, and I'm stamping this big branch from the set with Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink, because Oxide inks and craft cardstock are just meant to be in my books. I don't know. I love how they look. So stamp that. This is going to be just kind of a background element. And then after I stamped it, I've got my this is the big paper inking palette from Picket. This is the 8x8 one. I love my grippy mats. I have many of them because I do this as a job, so I have many from different brands. And my only peeve with them is removing the clear acetate, because it sticks. These grippy mats grip. And because I have multiples, I switch between them. They're all wonderful. I cannot take credit for this, but these mesh bags, and I'll have a link to them. Many brands now offer mesh bags like this. And someone forwarded me this info, and store your grip mats in those. It'll cling to it, but not in the same way it clings to those acetate sheets. I wanted to show it and give it a thumbs up, because for me, it's a game changer. Because when I'm done with my grip mats, I can just stick it in one of those mesh bags, and then it's great. It keeps the dust off of them. It's wonderful. It's a game changer, at least for me. So 2 thumbs up for that. Anyway, I don't take the acetate sheet off the back of my paper inking palette. So it slides around on my work surface. That to me is actually a bonus, because then I can rotate it, wherever I need it to go. Because I only need the top part to grip. It's holding my paper in place and it's holding my stencil in place. That's what I want. That is perfection for me. But if you want to take both off, you can. I will say though, especially these big ones, and the Picket one is just so nice and grippy. Be careful sticking it to glass. It is not easy to lift up. So that's another reason why I keep that acetate on there. But also for me, it's just that way I can rotate it, slide it around, get it out of the way. So I'm using the Christmas Tree Farm 6x8 stencil. And the Paper Glaze Luxe, the seasonal holiday sampler set, you get a red, a green, and a white, which I love. And I'm using the green one. This is Holly Leaf Green Luxe Paper Glaze. So it's got just a little bit of shimmer to it. It's really pretty. And I applied it over the stencil with a palette knife. And then as soon as I was done, clean off my stencil, clean off my palette knife, I wipe off my grip mat, and it's good to go. Do not use abrasive cleaners on your grip mats or alcohol. I just wipe it off with an alcohol-free baby wipe. If it gets really gunked up with paste, things like that, I'll quickly wash it in the sink. Don't soak them in water either. You clean them like you would clean your photopolymer stamps. They will stain over time. So far, I've managed to keep mine fairly pristine, but it's only a matter of time, especially when you use red inks, reds, pinks, purples, whatever. Anyway, after I did that stenciling, I set those panels aside to dry, and I grabbed more pieces of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, and I'm stamping that big branch image with the Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink. And I'd use my anti-static powder tool on it, and then I'm using Rustic Wilderness Distress Embossing Glaze over this. You could just use clear embossing powder, because I'm not doing anything fancy. This isn't like a special technique or anything, because you can do all sorts of things with the embossing glazes because they're transparent. They're not opaque. The biggest thing is if you use the same color, in this case, Rustic Wilderness with Rustic Wilderness, it just intensifies the color and deepens it, which is kind of what I was aiming for. But again, you could totally just use clear embossing powder. It just won't be quite as dark as this turns out. So this is going to give it, just a little more depth. And then, of course, the raised, shiny look, which is fabulous. So I had stamped these bows onto the cardstock, covered them with the Rustic Wilderness embossing glaze, funneled the embossing glaze back into the container, and put the lid on it so I don't knock it over with an elbow. It's happened. And then melted those with my heat tool. And then I used the coordinating wafer die to die cut this out. And I was going to leave them just as is after die cutting because it's like they're shiny and just the intensity of this color. It's like perfect for Christmas. But I decided I wanted to add just a little bit of ink blending just to give it that little extra something. And since it's been heat embossed, it's going to resist any ink blending. And since I had used the Rustic Wilderness embossing glaze, I can just use the Rustic Wilderness ink, and you're like, there's a difference. Because brain stopped. If I had just used clear embossing powder and then blending this, you'd see it, but it might be a little off, if that makes sense. But I used a very light hand. I used one of my Picket Fence blending brushes and just a little bit of that Distress Oxide ink and just lightly blended it around the edges. Nothing too crazy. Because Oxide inks have pigment in them, that ink is sitting on top of a lot of the embossing. So I just take a cloth and rub it over the top of this now that I'm done my blending, and that just removes any of the excess ink, brings back the shine of the melted embossing powder, and then we're good to go. So I set those aside. I grabbed another piece of Desert Storm cardstock, and then I put the 3 little ornament images from this set onto it. Same thing, use my anti-static powder tool. This time I'm stamping these images with just clear embossing ink, and then flipping this around, doing it a second time. And then these I'm going to heat emboss with just gold embossing powder. And pour that over, tap off the excess, and then melt this with my heat tool. So once I've got these embossed, I am going to do the most simple watercoloring. Like anybody can do this. This is as basic as it gets. I'm going to use just one Distress watercolor pencil and a little water brush just to fill in these ornaments. My Distress watercolor pencils, I have a palette that I made. I just took the shavings, put them in a palette. I have a video on my YouTube channel that I did last year, showing how I did this. But you can also just take any watercolor pencil. It doesn't have to be Distress. But I do like my Distress watercolor pencils. But you could also just hold the pencil and pick up the color with the water brush directly from the pencil. I have the palette because this is more convenient for me. This is what I like to do. And then, I got a little water brush, swirl it in the color, paint it on. Like I said, simple. There is zero skill necessary for this. And because these images were heat embossed, they, again, resist the color because Distress watercolor pencils, they have pigments in them as well. So they will, if it was just stamped, the pigments will sit on top of stamp lines. So I generally like to heat emboss before I do actual coloring with them. So I filled those in, let that dry, which took no time at all. And then I die cut them with the coordinating wafer dies and set those aside. And then I'm going to use my little palette to add a bit of splatter with that same red, because that's another thing I've been loving with my Distress watercolor pencils is using them for splatter because, again, they're opaque. So it shows up on darker cardstocks like the Desert Storm, etc. So I wet my fan brush with just water and then swirled it in that color and then splattered that on the backgrounds as well as on those embossed branches. And then decided to add a little bit of gold as well, because you can never go wrong with a bit of gold splatter. So I just used my Gansai Tombi Starry Colors for that. Put a little bit of water in the pan, swirled that up, and then added that splatter as well, just to kind of tie it all together. You always got to go easy on red splatter, especially with holiday cards, things like that. You don't want to do too much and make it look like a crime scene, unless that's what you're going for. You never know. It depends on the theme you're going for, but just a little bit of the red was fine. And then the gold, and same thing. Set those aside again. And then I've got just a little scrap of red cardstock that I put into my MISTI, and I'm going to gold heat emboss one of the sentiments from the set, the one that says A Christmas Hello. So anti-static powder tool on the cardstock, stamp the sentiment with clear embossing ink, flip that around, stamped it a second time, and then use the same gold embossing powder on this. Coat that, tap off the excess. I'll melt this with my heat tool, and then I'll die cut this sentiment with the coordinating wafer die, because the coordinating wafer die set, the dies in it die cut all of the images as well as all the sentiments, which also love. So got those melted, let that cool off for a second, use my microfiber cloth to remove that excess anti-static powder, and then die cut those sentiments. And then my backgrounds are completely dry, so I ended up trimming these down because they were originally A2 sized. So I ended up trimming these down to 3 3/4 by 5. Yes. And then I also ended up trimming down some of the same red cardstock to just slightly larger than that. And I'll mat those together when I assemble the card fronts. And then my card bases are top folding A2 white note cards. And I have them lined up in my MISTI. So I've got the inside of the card facing up. I put a piece of Post-it tape right at the score line so I don't stamp past the score line. And then I lined up that branch, so I stamped it along the top of what will be the inside of the card with that Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink. And then lined up the second card base, did the exact same thing, masked it off right at the score line, inked up the stamp, stamped that onto the inside. And then I took another sentiment from that set. This one says, "It's time to celebrate." So I'm going to line that up, and that one I'm going to stamp with Candied Apple Distress Oxide ink. So get that lined up, ink that up, stamp it, and then repeat the process on the second card base. So both of the insides are now complete. So now I can start assembling my cards. So like I said, I cut some red cardstock slightly larger than my card front and adhered those together with some craft tacky glue. And then I'm going to adhere these to my card bases. And then once I've got these adhered, the separate branch that I had heat embossed and ink blended, I'm going to flip over the card base and just mark with a pencil where the one end of this hangs off the card. And I just do that so that I don't apply adhesive past that point, because it's annoying cutting through it when I snip the part off. Plus, it's just a waste of good adhesive. So figured out where I wanted it, marked that with a pencil, just like so. Did the same thing with the other one. And then I'm going to put some Big Mama foam tape on here, which is very, very thin. So it's going to give it just a little bit of dimension without adding a ton of bulk. Although you could use regular foam tape for this. It would just create like more lift. So applied the foam tape to the back of this. And then once that's in place, I can then peel off the foam tape and stick this to the front of my cards. So this is what I was saying about the first one that I stamped on the background. Like, it's just kind of like filler. It just gives it that little extra something. So adhered these and then flipped the cards over and just used the edge of the card base as my guide to trim off the excess little bits there. And then the sentiment, I decided to just adhere directly to the background with craft tacky glue. And then the ornaments, I'm going to adhere with just thin foam squares and tuck them in as if they're like hanging off that little branch, just like so. And then as a final little bit of bling, of embellishment, I have the North Pole Gem mixes. And I just added little dabs of glue and then picked these up with an embellishment wand and then pressed them into place. So this will give just a little extra sparkle. You know, I've got the shine from the gold splatter, the gold heat embossing, the stenciling, the holly leaf green, paper glaze Luxe. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it, like I said, but it's subtle, you know. So the bling just gives it that little extra something. So yeah, just a little dabs of glue. Dig through the gem mixes. I really like the Picket gem mixes. I'm not like, man, if I had had these as a kid, I would have just sat and played with just these. There's something ridiculously satisfying digging through these containers. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me and I'm crazy, but I have fun with them. So anyway, once those are adhered, I just got to let the glue dry and these cards are complete. So shine and sparkle and, you know, a splatter. I love my splatter. and yet it was still kind of subtle. Who'da thunk? So like I mentioned in the intro, I'll have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. So if you just expand the description box, everything will be listed and linked there for those that are interested. Thank you all for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all very soon in another video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in supporting me over on Patreon, the link to that is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!